Thank you guys. Thanks for that introduction, Doug. So I'm excited about tonight. This is our last chance to be together as a sports family for the fall, and we want to celebrate all the things that have gone well for us this year. This is getting easier for me as my tenure here at the school goes on, just because when I look out in the crowd, I see so many familiar faces. A lot of you guys I get a chance to interact with in one capacity or another, but it is very seldom in which I get to interact with all of you at the same time. So to be able to speak with our coaches, our parents, and our athletes, and our faculty members at the same time is a privilege for me. So I am going to be before you for a few minutes just to make sure that, to Doug's point, I continue to do what I'm trying to do, which is make sure we're all on the same page as to where we're going, where we are, what we're here to celebrate. So we're going to celebrate our athletes' success, we're going to celebrate our coaches' success, and there's going to come times while I'm up here where I'm going to need you to give me some energy, give me some applause, right? So I hope that my words will make it clear when it's time, but I might just do this to make sure, because I want to make sure that these people are getting the appreciation that they deserve, okay? That's it. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. So Doug's absolutely right. None of these awards nights can start before we go through a list of thank yous. There are so many people that go into making a sports season happen. Some of them are right in front of you and you know who they are, and others are behind the scenes. You may not get a chance to interact with them. So this is an opportunity to highlight what they do, for me to personally tell them thank you. So I'm going to start with our parents. Our parents are an essential part of running a sports program. I think that's the case at any school where parents collaborate to get students to and from different sports. But here at Elgin Academy, I see that you guys take it a step further. When our athletes get on the buses to get to these away games, they are always met with healthy snacks that they can take to these games. And everyone is doing that out of the kindness of their heart. We appreciate that. I've been to away games where I've seen us as a parent group have more people and more energy than the home team themselves. I've seen home teams come here, away teams come here to play us, and they don't have this sort of traveling group that we have. The amount of support that you guys offer to EA Athletics is absolutely appreciated, and I want to say thank you. One specific family, and I could do this every season because I know every season, several of you families out there, you'll come to me and say, hey Rick, do you need anything? If you ever need anything, you let me know. I get that offer so often, and I really appreciate that. This year we actually did take someone up on it, and we want to spend a special thanks to the Mordini family who provided new backboards for our field hockey program. The second group I want to thank is our faculty and staff, Doug Sept and Seth Hanford, and the faculty that they represent. Now, it is very common that at a school that the athletic department and the academic department sometimes can be at odds. I know this monthly. I have the opportunity to go to an athletic director meeting where I sit with other athletic directors in the Independent School League, and it is essentially similar to like a teacher's lounge in that there's a lot of complaining going on about their relationships with their heads of school and their principals. And I sit there just sitting back thinking, I don't experience any of that. My relationship with Doug and the faculty that he represents is as strong as it could possibly be. The faculty will come to me and share thoughts about what's going on with our student athletes. They will leverage our office for some of our athletes that are more athletic minded and need a bit of an incentive, and we enjoy partnering with them in that. They work with us on early releases and allow students out of school early to get to the city. There's so many things that we do on a day-to-day basis to collaborate. So to our faculty, I want to say thank you. Our Athletic Booster Club is led by Jen Cervini and Rachel Zontz this year. They, again, are one of the behind-the-scenes group. When we want to celebrate, right, I'm a guy that comes up with a lot of ideas. There's lots of things I want to do to try to bring energy to the program. But having ideas is one thing. Having the time and the resources and the practicality to make it happen is another thing. And our Athletic Booster Club, they provide that for us. They provide the time, the resources. They keep my scatterbrain a little bit more organized. And so to the Athletic Booster Club, I want to say thank you. Another unsung hero that we probably take for granted is our maintenance team. It's easy to notice them when things aren't working, but when things are working, when everything is in working order, when things are clean and maintained well, we never stop to think who's doing that. Well, that's Andrew Kolba and his group. So we want to spend a few seconds to say thank you to them for all that they do to make sure. So we have a communications team, and Coach Craig Pinson and I, we went to Tanya Moore earlier this summer, and we said, we believe that we've got to do a better job of communicating with our parents, our athletes, and our coaches. We need one communication form that we can use to kind of streamline how we communicate. So we asked her, we said, could you please give us a separate athletic portal that makes it easy for us to put results of games and a new athletic sports blog and all sorts of things that we had. And within a couple of weeks, Tanya got that up and running for us. So we want to say thank you to her. And then on the back end of that, as we start to do things and we start to have accomplishments in our sports, we want to get that information out, not just to our own community, but to other communities. So we utilize social media and Twitter and Instagram and other forums, and that's a big part of what Lynn Martin does on a day-to-day basis. I don't know about you guys, but I check my phone every day, and there's not a day that goes by where I don't check the different forums and see something going on with Elgin Academy, not just in sports, but we are certainly not slighted in that. She fills in what's going on with academics, what's going on with the arts, and the athletics as well. So to Lynn Martin and Tanya Moore, we want to say thanks. Four more if anyone's counting, so we're getting there. All right, so to my team, so Craig Pinson has been an absolute godsend. What we wanted to do last year, if for those of you guys who know the history, I was the athletic director of the entire school, in charge of trying to keep the middle school and the upper school heading in the same direction, and I absolutely did my best, but I'm standing before everyone to tell you that that's a difficult job to do, and it requires more people, and it requires more energy, and it requires more enthusiasm. So when Mr. Pinson came in as our physical education teacher, we noticed he had all of those traits. We came to him and we said, can you please help us out by taking on the middle school position in addition to the physical education position, and he has taken that ball and rolled with it. And for all of you guys who do have siblings in the middle school, we'll be back here tomorrow night to celebrate their accomplishments this fall as well. But right now, I just want to say a big thank you to Craig for all of this. And then there's Rose Johnson. So I'm going to sit on this one here for a second, because my entire summer essentially was filling this position. We needed to find an administrative assistant that could do so many things. So I had a bunch of different meetings to make sure that I came up with the perfect job description so that we could find the right person. It was a very unique position because it wasn't just working in athletics. We wanted this person to be able to partner with our admissions department and Dr. Shell, and she can attest to the fact that our interview process was fun, to say the least, and trying to find someone that could fit both of those different skill sets, because working in athletics and working in admissions is not necessarily always the same job. So what Rose has done so far in her first semester with us is not only done everything that was on that very difficult job description, but she's found things that I didn't even know that I needed, and has filled those gaps as well. First and foremost, my office is a lot cleaner than it normally is. Some of you guys might walk by. You might walk by and say, it's still not clean, but trust me, compared to how it was, it is much better. And so just for that and so many more things, and Rose, for only being your first semester with us, I can only imagine how much more you're going to improve our department as you stay with us. So thank you very, very much. And these last two are obviously as important as any. We have a very talented, very diverse coaching staff. That's what I love about our coaching staff. Our coaching staff is, for the most part, adjunct faculty. And anytime you're dealing with adjunct faculty, you have the pro of being able to find people who are passionate about their sport. So at some other schools, they may have people who are science teachers who borrow themselves to the basketball program or to the hockey program or whatever it is. Here at the Elgin Academy, we have people who are passionate about their sport. I was recently in a all teachers meeting, and I was sitting next to the art teacher. I won't say which one because I don't want to tell on her, because she was doodling while Mr. Hanford was speaking. And as I looked over and I saw her doodling, I thought to myself, you know what? I thought that was really cool, because when you are passionate about something, you can't help but to do it. And she just, I made a little joke, and that's what she said. She said, I just love to draw. That's what she loves to do. And that's what I think about when I think about our coaches. They love to do what they do. Our golf guy is a golf guy. Our volleyball person is a volleyball person. And so, and then they do that with the responsibility that it takes to work here at this school, where academics is always going to come first. And so they understand that balance, and I just appreciate them for that. So to our coaches, I want to And last but certainly not least, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of our time tonight, is talking to our athletes directly. So anytime any of the athletes first meet me for the first time, so 3 years ago for our juniors, and yet last year for our sophomores, and anyone who just met me this year, every time I meet you, the first thing I say is, my promise to you is to give you more than any athletic department has ever given you. But in exchange for that, I'm going to ask more from you than any athletic department has asked. That's been our give and take. As my time here has come, we've progressed towards that agreement more and more each year. This year, I want you guys to know that I am not the least bit surprised by any success that we have achieved this fall. I saw this success happening as of the end of last year. When we met in the spring, or at the end of the fall season awards even, I always end the awards with saying, the next season starts right now. And a lot of the people that are here today took me at my word. And we had the most active off season that we've had since I've been here. I was here all summer, and I saw student athletes coming in on their own to get their extra work in. Our camps were well attended. We started a preseason sort of training camp in which I let everyone know that it was going to be difficult and we were going to get them in shape. And when I did that, I thought, no one's going to show up. And we had over 30 kids every day ready to work and put the work in that it takes to be successful. So before we talk about individuals, we are going to highlight some individuals today, but I want everyone to spend just a few seconds giving a big round of applause to all of our athletes and everything that they've done this year. So, again, it's not often that I get a chance to talk to everyone at the same time, so I want to spend just another couple of minutes with a quick couple of points on the things that I want us to emphasize, the things I want us to celebrate from what's happening in each one of our sports. One of the kids joked with me earlier today. They said, Coach, I've been to a couple of your awards and you always say the same thing, but in a different way, of which I had no apology. You're absolutely right. That is what I'm trying to do. There are some things that we want to be present in our sports all the time. And each one of our sports programs are taking care of at least one of those things. So I thought my approach today is going to be to put on my coach hat for a second. So as of November 5th, on Monday, I'm going to be not just the athletic director here, I'm going to start our basketball season, and I'm going to be a head coach here at Elgin Academy. And so as a head coach, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from each one of the coaches on the coaching staff here. Each one of you guys and your teams are bringing something to our sports department that we all need to bring. So what I want to encourage all of us to do as I lay out these things that I'm going to take is consider taking them for yourself as well. What soccer is bringing, maybe tennis can learn from. What tennis is bringing, maybe field hockey can learn from. So as I do that, there'll be things for us to celebrate. Again, we're going to want a round of applause at that time, but I'm going to tell you guys personally the things that I see from each one of your sports that I want to take with me, okay? So starting with tennis. Tennis has, the first thing I think about when I think about them, they have an absolute commitment to their academic work. Our tennis team does not use their sports performance as an excuse to do poorly in the classroom. They are high-achieving student athletes. At the same time, they also practice every day. They also get early releases to go downtown. They also, at sometimes, had to spend their entire day outside of the classroom. But in the end, they still achieved high marks in the classroom. And that's what we're asking from all of our athletes, to do well academically and not apologize for the work that we have to do athletically. Specifically, their coaches, I believe, have done the best job at balancing those two things. When I watch them coach, I see them taking a different approach to each type of athlete. There's no hiding or mistaking the fact that at our school we have a unique approach to sports, in that some of our athletes are taking sports for a physical education credit, and some of our athletes are taking sports because they love the sport. And even if we were to remove the physical education requirement, they would still play. When I watch Coach Greg and Coach Sterling coach, I see them approaching each one of those students just a little bit different. They take their time with the students who are just learning the sport and develop them slowly and patiently. When then they have someone who is trying to really develop their skills and grow as a tennis player, and they take her to the side and do different drills with them. That's something that I'm going to try to take with me and my coach, and that's something we should celebrate. Our field hockey team, when I see them, they absolutely bind together as a team. These are not just words that they speak. You have to be around them to see that they approach their sport with a sense of selflessness. When they show up to a practice or to a game, they are not doing it just because they want to be there. They're doing it because they know their sister needs them there. It's a very inspiring thing for me to see. It's not just when they get there, it's also in the way that they play. They support each other strategically in how they put themselves on the field. It's a very inspiring thing to see for me. They have a no-quit attitude when they play, which is evidenced by anyone that was at their senior night. That game that they played at their senior night against Woodlands went into extra shootouts after extra shootouts. Far be it for me to say anything was poorly officiated. I shouldn't say that, but it wasn't that great. But I saw their resolve throughout the entire time, and they had a no-quit attitude to that. And then if you watch certain individuals, and like I said, I'm going to call out a couple of individuals. If anyone is interested in seeing what it looks like to give 100% when you're on the field, you simply have to go watch their captains play. Watch Madigan Borborski play. Watch the way Fiona Borborski plays goalie, and watch the way Renee Seneca plays the field. They give everything without excuses. So thank you. When I think about our soccer team, I think about the word leadership. Every team needs a clear and present leader. Obviously, our coaches are charged with that first and foremost, and Coach Kevin, who is new to our program this year, has done an excellent job of doing what I want all of our coaches to do, which is to coach without fail, no matter the score. And now, the soccer field is far apart, so I can stand on the top of the hill and see him way over there, and see he is still standing and engaged and enthusiastically teaching the sport, regardless of what happens on the scoreboard. That's something that I appreciate. Now, any coach knows that your leadership is going to be easier to accept when you have a player out there who can back you up. When players are able to hold their teams accountable, it makes the leadership even more sound. There is nobody in this room who embodies the vocal and the action that it takes to be a leader better than Murtaza Shaw. To watch him play is essentially to listen to him play. He is barking orders all the time. Sometimes not as pleasant as you would want it to be, but he is certainly there, and you can tell that his teammates respect him. So that's something that I'm going to try to take to our basketball season. I'm lucky because he happens to play basketball, so it's coming with me. For our cross-country team has created an atmosphere of no excuses. We were at Picture Day this fall, and at the end of Picture Day, I heard rumblings. I didn't say anything, I just heard rumblings of different people and different teams saying, okay, well, since we had Picture Day, I guess we don't have practice. And when it got to the cross-country group, I heard them say to themselves, before they could even ask the question, there's no way we're not going to have practice today. They knew for a fact that their coaches were not going to cancel that practice, and if they only had 30 minutes left before 4:30, they were going to run for 30 minutes. They know that if there's a slight drizzle outside, that does not mean practice is canceled. They have a culture of we are going to run. In addition to that, they take care of the total athlete. They're not just concerned with what happens on game day. They take care of their nutrition, they take care of their sleeping habits. Their coaches emphasize that. That's something that I'm going to take back with me, and that's something we should celebrate. I also wanted to take a time with cross country to identify that one of the 4 pillars of our athletic department is sportsmanship. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we hand out our awards. But I know from experience as their basketball coach, but also as watching them play run, there's no one that demonstrates that idea of sportsmanship better than Anthony and Chris Perez. They are an amazing tandem when it comes to doing that. So So then I get to volleyball. And volleyball has a couple of different things that you can hear from them. They have a saying that they focus on this year called Move and Talk. Okay? Coach Deborah and Coach Don came up with this idea called the MAT Awards. MAT stands for Move and Talk. And I thought about that because, I mean, that's what I'm going to remember about this season. They emphasize that over and over and over again. But if you watch our volleyball team, they are our most communicative team. If you go watch them, they have these cheers that they do that gets me hyped every time they do it. If they get an ace, they say ace up. If they get a block, they say whoosh, and nobody misses it. And I love hearing that vocal approach to the sport. Kaylin Lie, whenever she scores, the whole crowd knows she scored. She gets us hyped, and I appreciate that. So if you are at the game, you're going to hear that. If you happen to miss the game, nobody took advantage of our new website and our new blogs and our ability to communicate with our parents better than our coaches did. They communicated with us, they told us what was going on, what went well, what did not go well, and so I appreciate that about our volleyball team. Now there's an old saying that says, put your money where your mouth is. So it's one thing to talk, and it's another thing to put action behind what you talk. So for the last few years, we've done this amazing event where we hold a pack event that is dedicated towards making a donation to breast cancer awareness. And each year that we've done that, we have surpassed our goals and beaten the year before. To give you some context, the first year, these are rough figures, I don't have them exact, but the first year was, say, $200. The next year, we beat that to be about $350, and then last year, we ended up writing a check for about a little over $500 to Susan G. Komen. Well, this year we took that record and we just smashed it. We're proud to announce that we're going to make a donation to Susan G. Komen for the amount of $1,753. That's not just a credit to you guys and what you do to communicate, but it's a credit to all of us and what we're capable of doing as a community when we get together with one goal in mind. So I want to say thank you to all of you guys for that. And then lastly, that brings us to golf. And I know golf had their own awards show yesterday. What was that? When was that, Carly? Sunday night. It was Sunday night. Sunday night they honored the golf, and I appreciate that. Tom Schneider has his own golf club, and he can use that. He uses that quite a bit for us to give our kids a chance to play golf and work on their game. And he couldn't make it today, so he wanted to do it early. I have no problem with that. But what we have to make sure we recognize about our golf team is that through all of this that I'm saying, everything that we're trying to build towards is so that we can be a more productive athletic department. At the end of the day, we want to win more. We want to have more accomplishments, right? And when you look at our fall season teams, there is no one that is more accomplished than our golf team. They finished second in the ISL conference, which those of you who compete in the ISL conference know that's a difficult thing to do. They advanced as a team to the sectional finals here at the state. Their sophomore leader, Johnny Yavari, leads the way for the boys, and their leader for the girls, Neha Connor, went to state for the second year in a row and gave us all a chance to send her off in style for our first ever state walk. What's exciting to me as an athletic director about that golf team is that they are a balance of senior veterans and leaders, and then some really up and coming young student athletes that we're excited to see their growth going forward. So again, I say it every year, and I'll say it again. Next year starts right now. While I'm going through these different things, if there's if you wanted your name called out, if once we get to these awards, if you're disappointed in the results of the awards, the only thing that you can do is start your goals right now. The off season begins when the first season ends. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you guys do with your off season. Our department is here to support you in any way that you need. Facility usage, equipment usage, our different camps for the summer will be up and running. Our training camp next fall will be back. And I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you guys do with that. So on that, thank you very much for a great class. All right, so if I could have